Hello there. So, in the episode 4 of why the Kenyan government and the Kenyan president are so powerful, we will see how they can, which other methods they can use to raise money in order to run the government businesses. So, if the central bank already already lend them a lot of money, and the central bank says, okay, yeah, we don't have enough money to lend you as a government because you already owe us, the government can decide it to go outside the country. So it can speak to a specific country, like for example China, or it can speak to the World Bank, the so-called the International Monetary Fund, the IMF bank. So the IMF bank was formed after in 1944 in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. We will talk about that when we get to the history of how the dollar ended up becoming the world's reserve currency. So when the government of Kenya, through the Department of Treasury, decides to go borrow money from another country like China, for example, the Chinese government can decide, okay, what we're gonna do, if we give you the actual money, then you have to hire our companies to come do that work for you. So if there is a lot of corruption, those countries can decide, well, we don't think we really want to lend you that money, because if it comes back to those bank accounts under individual people, then we will not be having enough ground to say you borrowed this much, and you are promising to tax your citizens in order to pay it back. So if an individual company decides, if an individual country decides to like lend money to another country's government, what will happen is they usually lend each others in terms of dollars, because it's the dollar that does like a cross-border transaction. So if you want to buy something, you are a Kenyan and you want to buy something in Uganda, if you don't have Ugandan shilling, you can use the dollar. So whatever you get the dollar, you go buy that dollar and then you pay it, and then you'll be given whatever merchandise that is equivalent to the value of dollar. But we will see how the dollar came to be when we go back in time to study history and how it ended up becoming the world currency. So the countries that normally lend money are the countries that are like they are like self-sustaining. They manufacture everything, so they don't need to import anything. So that for a country like Kenya that depends on importing stuff from outside, because they cannot make everything they need, like let's say for example cars, soap, cups, plastic ware and stuff. You want to have like a Kenyan currency that is stronger, so that it can afford more. But if Kenya was like self-sustaining, like we make our own cars, we can make just about anything, and we are able to do the mass production, then our Kenya shilling can be whatever it is that we say it is. If you say that you want to attack our economy as a different country, then we can say, okay, what we're gonna do is we will reduce the value of our money, and then we can produce more and sell more, and that one will still put you in a fixed position, because there is no way you can fight with a country that have the capability to produce and supply the whole world. And that is exactly where China is. China can manufacture and sell just about anything, and that is why if someone threatens to like give them a sanction, they just drop the value of their money, such that if the value of Chinese money goes down, then your Kenyan money can buy more goods, and you will end up buying from them regardless. And that is how they control the world economy. So if the central bank, no, if the government cannot get a loan from an individual company, then they normally go to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. And in that IMF bank, they will tie their loans, they will tie those government loans to like a specific set of conditions, like you have to reduce corruption, you have to do this, and if they want to like put you under shackles, like economic shackles, what they do is they will set up like high interest rates, and if your country is not self-sustaining, like you don't manufacture a lot, you depend on importing like almost everything except you export agricultural stuff, then your shilling will be worth whatever it is that they say. So if your shilling becomes worthless, then life becomes harder, and you have to spend more to get the same amount of services that you are getting. And that is why the ordinary mwananchi, the Kenyan, always feel the pinch when the value of the shilling goes down, and they can decide that for us to give you this loan and get your money like a better value, then you have to do this and this and that. And that is how they always end up getting Kenya under that financial stress. So whenever you go to the store and maybe you see the price of let's say petrol, fuel or diesel, or the price of flour keeps going up and up, sometimes the government doesn't have like a lot of control as you might think, but they can always try to encourage other countries to like come and do business with the Kenyan community, so that when those countries are doing those business, it's gonna be really hard for like the IMF and World Bank to like attack that economy. So that is why it's highly advisable that Kenya should really respect China and know that it's the Chinese government that is holding the economy of that country, because in the absence of the Chinese government, the economy of Kenya can crumble, because the IMF can decide to drop or lower the value of the Kenya shilling, and because your salary does not fluctuate with the fluctuation of the value of the Kenyan shilling, it becomes harder for you to afford basic stuff. And the government might decide, okay, maybe because we cannot get loans from outside, let's print more money, and that one exacerbates the problem, because now it causes inflation, in which a lot of people who end up getting that money are the only ones who can afford it to buy stuff. So in the next episode, we'll try to see how the dollar became like the world currency.